What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't know exactly what I'm going to go ahead and title this video, but regardless of what it ends up to be, I am extraordinarily happy with the brand new update that just came into XDefiant. For those who don't know, the other day, I went ahead and live streamed Call of Duty Next, and of course, the brand new update for XDefiant. COD Next was a little something, but I'll post that in another video. For today's video, I want to hyper-focus the update to XDefiant because that was the juiciest portion of that day. And again, I appreciate everybody who tuned into the stream. If you guys are interested, I will be streaming again today over on Twitch at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, maybe around 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we go on for about like 3-4 hours, sometimes even 5 hours. So if you guys are interested and want to, check it out, hang out with us, and see this new update live and in action, not just on this video, you guys can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to go ahead and start off this video with a little bit of a negative before we dive deep into the movement. I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm kind of disappointed they didn't go ahead and drop Rockefeller the other day when this update went live. Now, apparently, today, there's going to be a XD brief, which, again, we will watch it on the live stream over on Twitch. You guys can tune in. Like I said earlier, the link to that is down below. I'm not going to go into details. But what worries me is that I don't think this map is coming into the game until this weekend. Friday, potentially Saturday. And as we all know, the BO6 beta is dropping this Friday. And of course, it's only going to be for the people who pre-ordered the game, so it's not going to be for everybody out there. But I still think it's a pretty decent mistake to drop this around the exact same time. I'll be real, they've been doing kind of decent with managing their drops and their content and their updates at reasonable times here, but this one is a bit wonky. I wish they could have just dropped it a bit earlier, just kind of break the schedule there and just give it to the community so they can enjoy it ahead of time. But it is what it is. I'll still be testing it out regardless. I'm going to test out Black Ops 6, but at the end of the day, you guys know I really enjoy XDefiant, and Rockefeller was fantastic when I first played it, so obviously I'm going to be back into the experience to give it a go. But I still think it's a bit rough that we, we're not going to see that map come into the, into the mix here. And on top of that, this is going to be the final update, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to say that one last time before we dig into the positives, because it does worry me that the community might lose a little bit of interest. But it's okay because, Season 2 is going to drop a big boy update, and it's nothing the developers can do. I'm sure they would put some more, updates throughout the next couple of weeks that are coming here. But they already told us over on Twitter that since Season 2 is already ready and good to go and they have it scheduled, they're not allowed. Literally, they are not allowed to drop any other updates between now, this current update we just got, and the Season 2 drop. So, again, it's not in their control to be able to put out as many updates as they want. They have to wait here. So it is going to be a bit of a drought, but I think that this movement change is going to be enough to hold people over and hopefully give them another chance at this game and see if they actually enjoy the overall experience. They absolutely nailed it. Again, I was extraordinarily worried that these developers were going to change it around and just absolutely reduce everything and make it so you're stationary 24/7. But no, they didn't do that whatsoever. The movement feels practically the exact same if you knew how to use movement correctly and not spam it. If you know how to actually use the movement, this is going to just make it a bigger skill gap. But for those who are just the ultimate spammers, who have no clue what movement actually is, and their idea of movement is just to spam the space key or spam the jump button on your controller again and again and again and again with no logical idea of why you're doing it, what scenarios you should do it in, so on and so forth, you, my friend, are going to be penalized and you're going to look like an absolute fool every single time you go ahead and do so. Beforehand, the animations were very janky. I could obviously track someone who's jumping around, but I can't deny that when someone's crouching up and down or jumping back and forth, it doesn't look as smooth or fluent. It looks very, well, like I just said, janky, which obviously interfered with how people saw the game visually. It was just very visually disgusting to a lot of individuals, while at the same time making it extraordinarily hard to track because obviously it's a very janky movement. It's not like smooth and, fluent where you can, it's obviously you can throw off the other players and you can, counter strafe and, get some movement in there to make yourself a harder target. But it's not like I have to, jaggedly move my mouse or jaggedly move your right analog stick, right? The air strafing is still in place, so obviously if you want to use that to your advantage, you can. But it's not as efficient while you're just jumping back and forth in place because they have a jump height reduction for every single hop that you do. So after your first hop, you jump lower. After your second hop, you jump lower. And then the third one, you're not going to leave the ground. So the two things that this does is it forces players to actually think strategically when they engage with a jump shot, because if they spam it too early, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be stuck in the mud, basically, and they're going to get shot in the face. Now, they're not stuck in the mud because it's not going to make you run really slow. It can still, start running off if you mess up your movement and you can get out of there. But you're not going to be able to sit there and spam the jump button if you make a mistake and continue to do so while you beam a bunch of people at the same time. You have to think strategically of when you're going to engage with the jump. You can't just use it 24/7. It's phenomenal. So if you want to airstrafe, you have to actually think about that airstrafe within the first hop and a half, because you're not going to be airstrafing after the second hop. You're going to be too close to the ground, right? All of these things together are making the movement extraordinarily fun right now. It still has the main idea intact of what this game is all about and the creative movement that the developers have built. But at the same time, it's not over the top obnoxious for newer players to come in and try to understand it or also look at it. Yeah, I have zero issues. Before, I'll admit, I did have some problems killing some people if they got really nasty with the movement. It's not impossible. I still think you can easily track it. You can get the job done, especially if you predict it ahead of time. But I will say now, compared to how it was before, this is it. And the animation smoothness, I think on top of everything else, that's really what's key here. Because again, they could still go ahead and reduce the jumps, your jump height after every single jump, and it could still look jaggedy as ever and look disgusting. But the smoothness really makes it crispy, because even when someone does hit a really nasty slide jump and they gain a lot of momentum and they fly across the map and they quickly, jump backwards in an airstrafe, it's like I said, it's smooth now. It's not going to jar up your brain and make you lose control and not understand what's happening. It feels more fluent, like you can predict it. I really highly suggest people hopping back in and giving this a go. Seriously, this movement is outstanding, and I could see this paired up with the netcode changes that are going to be coming within Season 2, probably around the beginning to near the middle. That is going to be enough to make this game feel so outstanding. I will say right now, the netcode problems, for me personally, the ones that I've witnessed from time to time, don't feel anywhere near as obnoxious versing people who are jump shotting, because of the smoothness that they incorporated into the animations and also the jump height reduction. And let me not forget to mention this as well. The horizontal jump speed has been reduced by 10% as well. So that, again, that's insane. The mid-air strafe speed has been reduced a little bit. The horizontal jump speed has been reduced a little bit. And on top of that, every single hop that you take, you get closer and closer to the ground. You don't keep the same height. Outstanding. Again, it's no point in getting word with these developers. There is truthfully, absolutely zero reason to worry ever when it comes to the XDefiant developers. They are always open, they always keep us in the loop, and they know what their game is. They play their game. It's like the same thing with Modern Warfare 3 that I enjoyed about Sledgehammer games compared to like Infinity Ward with Modern Warfare 2 2022. It felt like Sledgehammer played the experience. There were some bugs and problems that lasted the whole year in Modern Warfare 2 2022 that didn't take rocket science to understand and complete. All it took was just loading into the game and seeing them, right? But they never got fixed. Sledgehammer games, on the other hand, Modern Warfare 3, every problem was almost practically instantly resolved. It was really cool to see, and it was great to see developers actually care that much about the current product they have, instead of, talking about their current game and then going ahead and playing World of Tanks for something for 20,000 hours when, your main game is sitting there suffering. I sense the same thing with the XDefiant developers. They play their freaking game. They do. It's no way they don't, because a lot of these problems are resolved almost instantly, even without community feedback and the community coming at their necks to try to resolve things. And of course, not everything is resolved. There's still problems, but man, oh man, between balancing, the weapon balancing especially, the weapon balancing has been, oh god, after the past couple of updates, ladies and gentlemen, it's so freaking good right now. Pretty much all the ARs and SMGs, in my personal opinion, are feeling very viable across the board. Like, honestly, I would rather use an M4 over the ACR any day of the week. And the same thing with SMGs. I'd rather use a Vector over the MP7 any day of the week. I love it. The MP5 over the MP7 any day of the week. They're all so freaking good. These developers have been on fire. And then with this new movement update, it's the cherry on top of everything else, baby. It's the cherry on top of the cake. They are just, they topped it all off. And I cannot wait to see how this game is going to play and how responsive it's going to feel when they finally get these massive netcode, fixes in place. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And if you guys want to check out my live stream, we're live today over on Twitch. You guys can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
I appreciate that.